Take a look at this limit. As n goes to infinity, open parenthesis, 1 plus I over n, close parenthesis, to the power n squared times e to the minus in. At first glance, it feels impossible. There's an n squared in the exponent, and complex numbers love to spin, so you'd expect the values to swirl around the complex plane, maybe blow up, maybe never settle. But here's the twist. It does settle. Not to zero, not to infinity, to a clean constant. So what is it? Let's find out. Remember the classic limit that defines e. 1 plus 1 over n raised to n. As n grows, the value creeps upward, 2, 2.25, 2.59, and it locks in near 2.718. That's e. Now here's the upgrade. Replace the 1 with any real x. 1 plus x over n to the n approaches e to the x. And now the fun part. Let x equal I. Then 1 plus I over n to the n approaches e to the I. So this boring real limit secretly creates rotation in the complex plane, and that's the door we're going to push open next. Recall this limit. As n goes to infinity, 1 plus I over n to the power n equals e to the I. And what does e to the I mean? It's a rotation. On the unit circle, it turns you by 1 radian. Now here's the problem. What if the exponent is n squared? Then 1 plus I over n to the power n squared behaves like e to the in. That means the angle is n radians, and n grows without bound, so the arrow keeps spinning and spinning forever. So how do we stop the spin? We multiply by a counter rotation, e to the minus in. One turns forward by n radians, the other turns backward by n radians. Together, the rotations cancel, and what's left isn't chaos. It's the leftover growth, 1 plus I over n to the power n. So the trick is simple. Cancel the wild rotation first, then the limit becomes readable. Now we use the classic trick, logarithms. Let L be our limit, 1 plus I over n to the power n squared times e to the minus in. The base and the exponent both depend on n, so we take the natural log. The natural log of a product becomes a sum, so natural log of L equals the limit of natural log of 1 plus I over n to the n squared plus natural log of e to the minus in. Now use the power rule. Natural log of something to the n squared becomes n squared times the natural log of that something, and the natural log of e to the minus in is just minus in, so we get natural log of L equals the limit of n squared times natural log of 1 plus I over n minus in. But here's the catch. N squared goes to infinity, while the natural log term goes to 0, and we're subtracting something that also grows without bound. So it's an infinity minus infinity situation. Next, we need an expansion to see what survives. Now we zoom in with Taylor series, a microscope for functions near 0. First, the exponential e to the x equals 1 plus x squared over 2 factorial plus x cubed over 3 factorial, and so on. When x is small, those higher powers fade away fast. But the series we really need is for the natural log. Natural log of 1 plus z equals z minus z squared over 2 plus z cubed over 3 minus z to the 4th over 4. And for small z, the first two terms are enough. Natural log of 1 plus z is approximately z minus z squared over 2. Now here's our substitution, z equals I over n. So natural log of 1 plus I over n is approximately I over n minus 1/2 times I over n squared. And this is the key moment. What is I squared? I squared is -1. So that minus z squared over 2 term flips sign. Step by step, 1/2 times I over n squared becomes 1/2 times I squared over n squared, which is -1/2 over n squared. So subtracting it becomes adding. Final result, natural log of 1 plus I over n is approximately I over n plus 1 over 2n squared. Imaginary part, rotation. Real part, magnitude. Now comes the moment where everything clicks. We had natural log of L equals the limit of n squared times natural log of 1 plus I over n minus in. And from the Taylor expansion, we found natural log of 1 plus I over n is approximately I over n plus 1 over 2n squared. That's a big deal because it separates two behaviors. The imaginary term creates rotation, and the real term creates tiny growth in magnitude. Now plug it in. Natural log of L equals n squared times, open bracket, I over n plus 1 over 2n squared, close bracket, minus in. Distribute n squared carefully. N squared times I over n becomes in, and n squared times 1 over 2n squared becomes 1/2. So now we have natural log of L equals in plus 1/2 minus in, and that's the cancellation we designed from the start. The huge spinning term in is wiped out by the counter-rotation minus in, so the only survivor is 1/2. Therefore, natural log of L approaches 1/2, and the limit itself is e to the 1/2. In other words, infinite rotation gets cancelled, and we're left with pure exponential growth. We found that the natural log of L approaches 1/2, so exponentiating both sides gives L equals e to the 1/2. That's the square root of e, about 1.648. And here's the visual check. On the complex plane, the motion keeps spiraling, but the radius settles and locks onto this circle. Magnitude of z equals square root of e. Chaos finds order. Here's the big idea. 1 plus I over n to the n gives rotation. It heads toward e to the I, but with n squared, the spinning explodes. So we multiply by a counter-rotation, e to the minus in, that cancels the runaway spin. What's left is not chaos. It's a clean constant, e to the 1/2. Complex numbers don't break limits. They hide them. Thanks for watching.